And Sheriff Chad Chronister and Hillsborough County Commissioner Stacy White will be the two who are talking with you this morning about those additions and also what you can expect headed into the school year. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. And I also have to welcome, give her a great big warm welcome to Commissioner Stacy White, who's with us this morning. With students in Hillsborough County returning to school next week, we wanted to take this opportunity to provide an update on our school crossing guard program and how your sheriff's office is prepared to ensure student safety, not only on school campus, but to and from school. While you have traditionally seen crossing guards at elementary schools, this past April, Commissioner Stacy White proposed a middle school crossing guard program. With overwhelming support, funding was approved by the Board of County Commissioners, and we immediately began to organize the program structure and to identify public middle schools that would require a crossing guard. An arduous task due in part to the sheer number of schools in Hillsborough County, our team got to work conducting surveys, identifying required traffic engineering upgrades, along with the hiring and training of qualified individuals. Today we are pleased to report that we are ahead of schedule, and the new crossing guard program will launch at the beginning of this school year. 35 public middle schools were determined to need crossing guards using established Florida Department of Transportation standards. In addition, 11 elementary schools will be staffed for a total of 91 new crossing guard positions in the upcoming school year. Student safety is certainly a priority of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and I'm happy with the progress that we have made. In fact, we are nearly 3 years ahead of schedule in implementing our new middle school crossing guard program and under budget. Of course, with the establishment of new crossing positions, we have to hire qualified people. We have hosted a number of recruitment events over the summer, with 2 additional ones this week. Thursday, October 8th at the South Shore campus of Hillsborough Community College in Ruskin, and Saturday, August 10th at Lakeville High School. Currently, we have only 55 vacancies left to fill, and we are confident we will get great candidates at our upcoming recruitment events to fully staff our crossing guard positions. If for some reason at our recruitment events we don't find those persons, law enforcement will be assigned to fill the crossings so that parents will have confidence that their child can safely walk to and from school. Again, I'm very pleased with the progress we have made and appreciate Commissioner White and the entire County Commission's involvement and support. I also want to acknowledge and thank our County Administrator, Mr. Mike Merrill, and his traffic engineering staff, who are such great partners and were instrumental in the launch of the middle school crossing guard program, which is the first of its kind in the state of Florida. At this time, I would like to invite Commissioner White to the podium for a few remarks. Commissioner?
Thank you, Sheriff. Sheriff Chronister, thank you so much for having me out this morning. Hillsborough County Commissioner Stacy White. I played a small role in this endeavor by finding the funds in the County Commission's budget. I want to thank my colleagues on the County Commission for supporting this funding, and I especially want to thank Sheriff Chronister and his entire team for enthusiastically administering this program. And I think it's worth noting again, as the Sheriff has pointed out, they are nearly 3 years ahead of schedule in having these positions filled. Sheriff, I give you a heartfelt thank you for carrying this torch the way you have. Again, they've worked tirelessly on this initiative, as is evidenced with what you're seeing announced today. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge those parents and community leaders that have graciously partnered with us on this initiative. Certainly takes a good, strong community partnership, and happy to be moving forward. Again, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
At this time, the Commissioner and I are open to any questions.
Did you guys work with the school district at all on determining which schools and where the improvements were needed?
On some of the improvements, yes, we absolutely did. As a matter of fact, every meeting we had, we made sure the school district was represented and they were aware of any type of modification revisions that we were making, from which schools we were placing the crossing guards, which schools the traffic engineering was going to be doing a plethora of upgrades. They were a part of every one of those meetings.
What was the criteria used for the middle schools, if you can just elaborate on some of that?
The number of cars, the number of pedestrians, traffic patterns, if there were sidewalks available for the children, a lot of different dynamics. They normally spend about 3 days at each school to determine whether there's a true need for a crossing guard or not. Sometimes you may sit back and feel or believe that there's a need for a crossing guard because parents don't want to wait in the car line, so they're dropping their children off up the street, so it would lead you to believe that there's a false need for a crossing guard. So they spend 3 days identifying those traffic patterns to determine which schools truly have a need. And like I said, it was 35 out of the 42 middle schools, so almost all of them.
And did this come up as a result of when they ended courtesy busing, the need for even more sidewalks in some of the rural areas, some crossing lights, just because this was a huge problem for a lot of people?
Yeah, you're exactly right. There were a number of factors that played into this decision-making. That was certainly one of them. An outcry for help. You saw private citizens send in video. One of our local news stations certainly focused on this story, made it a priority, and then it garnished the attention of Commissioner White, who contacted myself, asked if, hey, listen, can you take on the additional role of now staffing middle schools? And I think all of us in this room can agree when it comes to student safety, getting to and from school safely, that's student safety. That's certainly a responsibility of ours and one that we hold near and dear to our hearts, and we wanted to get it done as soon as possible. We felt that it would probably take us 3 years to fully staff it. At times it's even difficult to fill all the elementary school crossings that we have, but we sat down here, met with our command staff, and made it that big of a priority. So I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more excited to say we thought it would take 3 years, and we're going to do it at the beginning of the school year.
Sheriff, for years, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said that it's just not in the budget to put crossing guards at middle schools. What did it really take to make this final happen?
You'd have to ask Commissioner White that. He may be able to answer that, but it certainly became a priority. It passed unanimously, so I think everyone, maybe people just weren't aware of how big of a problem, how large of a problem it truly was.
Following up with the elementary schools, I know there were like 45 elementary schools that did not have crossing guards. You found 11 out of those 45 do need them. If parents feel that those other 30-something schools still need them and are passionate about wanting them there, what steps should they be taking to try to alert you, hey, we're worried about this school or this area?
Well, I assure them that it is I can't say a bigger priority, but it's certainly a priority of ours. We were reevaluating schools every 5 years. Obviously, with the population growth in Hillsborough County, we knew that we needed to make that a yearly process. So beginning this past year, every school will be evaluated. If it gets to the point where the growth is that exponential to where we have to evaluate it twice a year, we'll certainly do that. If there's a need, with the great support that we're receiving from our county commission, we're going to fill any type of vacancies. Again, we don't ever want a child's life or safety to be in danger, and we'll do everything we can to reduce the likelihood of that child being hurt to and from school.
And can you elaborate really quick on the first in the state to have this type of program? I know Falls County Sheriff's Office has them at middle schools, others do too. Can you just elaborate what you mean by that?
Yeah, it's my understanding that we're the first in the state to have crossing guards at every middle school that requires that, or the study revealed that a crossing guard would be feasible at that school.
What are some of the qualifications here for people who would want to come and apply? What are some of the qualifications? Are you seeing a lot of retirees come out and do this? What do you want?
We see a lot of retirees, and it's difficult. When it's hot, they're out in the heat. When it's raining, they're out in the rain. There's never a great time just to be out standing and dealing with traffic. I think my bigger plea would be to motorists and parents dropping children off is pay attention. Pay attention to the crossing guards. we have the most qualified people out there. A lot of it has to do with background, making sure that these individuals are safe to be around children. And it's difficult too because it's a 2-hour job. They go home, then they have to come back in the afternoon. So someone has a flexible schedule. So there's a lot of different qualifying factors that play into this, but it all helps us create a crossing guard that is the most perfect person to beat each crossing.
If people are interested, they call the sheriff's office?
Absolutely. You can contact the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office at 247-8000 or go online. We'll make the application process simple as easy as we can. Like I said, we're getting close, and obviously for selfish reasons, I want to fill these as rapidly as possible, because if not, we're going to have a deputy sheriff out there, and that's tying a deputy sheriff from being proactive or responding to other calls for service. But it's that big of a priority that they're going to be there if that's where they need to be. Commissioner White?
Okay, Commissioner White, take a second.
Sure.
Is there-
Thank you.
Could you just follow up with a question about, for years we were told that there's no money, that there's no staffing to put crossing guards at middle schools. What did it take to make this happen?
Well, thank you for asking that question. The county administration and the Board of County Commissioners, we're always looking for efficiencies and ways to save money within our budget. This year was certainly no exception, and I did my due diligence as a county commissioner and took a dive into the budget and found some opportunities with respect to a funding source, and was able to pitch that to the county administrator. He graciously agreed, to move that along for me and take it to the board. Of course, I immediately engaged Sheriff Chronister, talked with him about administering this sort of a program. I didn't have to sell the program one iota to Sheriff Chronister. It was just an immediate, yes, this is all about the safety of our kids, of our school kids here in Hillsborough County. Yes, if you find that funding source and it's approved, I will absolutely move forward with it. And the rest is history, and here we are today. So someone was asking too about the people that'll fill these roles as crossing guards, and and I'm speaking sort of as a parent and a citizen now, but when I've taken my kids to school through the years or just driving by, you see this interaction between the child and the crossing guard. It can just be as simple as, hi, how's your day going today? You going to have a good day at school? Or at the end of the day, how was school today? And kids are learning things from these crossing guards as well. They're learning to put the device down, take the earbuds out, look both ways, look for oncoming traffic. So there's sort of that teaching as well, so that we have kids that grow into adults that can be safe pedestrians into adulthood. So,
How much
thank
does
you.
it cost? How much is the program?
This belongs to Sheriff Chronister's budget now, so I'm going to let him speak to the exact dollar figure. I know that the funding we've identified is about $1 million per year, but it's my understanding that the sheriff has come in under budget. I don't want to speak for him on that, though. So,
Yes, this is going to be a significant cost. This is $1.2 million a year that we will spend. We initially thought it would be over $2 million, but we're able to come in under budget. So extremely content with the savings we were able to identify.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
thanks.
Just wanted to note, the video that you all see scrolling, we're going to make that available for you in a media alert we're sending immediately after this press conference. It's a YouTube link, so it's easy to download.